All right, in this video, I'm going to be going over the arteries, and I'm going to be using our wireman model. So I'm going to begin at the heart here, at the aorta. So we have our ascending aorta and our aortic arch. And this is where we're going to see our first difference between the right and left side. So to the right, this first vessel that comes off the aortic arch is called the Brachiocephalic Trunk. And then the brachiocephalic trunk is going to branch into the right common carotid and the right subclavian. So this brachiocephalic trunk only exists on the right side. On the left side, right off of the arch, we're going to go ahead and have our left common carotid and our left subclavian. So on this side, we don't need a trunk first. We go directly from the arch to the carotid and the subclavian. That's the difference between the right and left sides. Okay, so let's follow the common carotid. So this is the left common carotid, and then it's going to go and it's going to split. Anytime you hear the word common in the name of something, that means it's about to undergo a split, okay? So here's the common carotid, and then the left common carotid splits into an internal carotid artery and an external carotid artery. The external carotid artery is going to go up around the face and go on the external surface of the skull, while the internal carotid is going to go up to this area up here. Kind of hard to do this while I'm holding the camera. This circular area here is called the cerebral arterial circle, or the circle of Willis. And so the internal carotid artery is going to go there. Okay. All right. There's also another set of arteries that are going to come off the subclavian, whether it's the left subclavian, here it comes off here, or over here off the right subclavian. These are called the vertebral arteries. The vertebral arteries start out separate, and as they get up near the top of this, they come together right here. And then they go past this area that kind of looks like a centipede with all these little side branches. So after the two vertebral arteries merge, this section right here is called the basilar artery, and it will also lead us up to the circle of Willis. So we have two ways of getting blood up into the circle of Willis, which is the main blood supply for the brain. Okay, so that gets us up through the head. Let's follow the subclavian. So again, left subclavian, okay, it's kind of hard to see at this angle. It's actually right there, right behind the vein. And it's going to continue to be the subclavian until it gets towards the shoulder, right over where the armpit would begin. We're going to change the name of it, and we're going to call it now the left axillary artery. So it is axillary as it goes over the cap of the shoulder and turns. So axillary is the same vessel as the left subclavian, and now we're just going to call it axillary for a few inches or centimeters. And then when we turn again and we're going down through the major part of the upper arm, we're going to call it the brachial artery. So same vessel, changes names 2 times. Now the brachial artery is going to split into 2 definite separate vessels. They are going to be the radial artery to the outside. It's going to line up with the thumb. And the ulnar artery to the inside that's going to line up with the pinky when the hand is in the anatomical position. Okay, so again, we go from left subclavian to left axillary artery to left brachial artery to left ulnar artery and radial artery. Now those are going to come together in the palms of the hand. We have this structure here that's called the palmar arch, and then each of the fingers is going to have a digital artery. So those are for the upper limb. Let's go down into the abdomen and go down into the lower limb. So we're going to follow the aortic arch past all of the ones that we just gave. The last one we gave was here, the left subclavian. And it's going to become the descending aorta, also called the thoracic aorta, as it passes behind the heart. Now, right immediately under the heart, and represented by this white piece right here, is your diaphragm muscle. So once the aorta crosses that diaphragm, goes through a hole in the diaphragm, then it is going to be called the abdominal aorta, because it has now entered the abdominal cavity. So everything below here, and this big vessel here, is going to be abdominal aorta. Now, as soon as we get through the abdominal aorta, I'm going to have to come up under here, we see that there's a large branch that comes off right here. It's a large piece, and we're going to call it a trunk. We're going to call it the celiac trunk. And this one splits into 3 vessels. One vessel goes off to the liver. That's called the common hepatic artery. One of them we can follow. It goes out to this organ, which is the spleen. So this would be my splenic artery. And then this very thin wire right here is going around the stomach. And so that one is called the gastric artery. So your celiac trunk splits into common hepatic artery, gastric artery, and splenic artery. Right after that one comes off the abdominal aorta is another one that comes off forward off of the aorta. This one on our wireman tends to be pulled over to the right side of our wireman. And this one is the superior mesenteric artery. If you're looking at the diagram of wireman, it's drawn off to the left, just like the inferior mesenteric is. But on this model, you can see it's coming off, it's kind of leaning towards the right. Superior mesenteric artery. Then next, we would see that there are blood vessels that lead to these organs, which are the kidneys, which would be known as the renal arteries. Let me show you up in here. You kind of have to get all tangled up in there. That would be my renal artery. So it goes celiac trunk, superior mesenteric, renal artery, and then we get here. I'm going to put this behind these two little wires right here. These represent the gonadal arteries. They're also come off directly off the front. So we've had celiac trunk from the front, superior mesenteric from the front, then the renals to the side, gonadals from the front. And then one more that kind of comes off the front but cheats left is this one. This is the inferior mesenteric artery. This is the last branch that comes off this remaining abdominal aorta. All right, so let's follow the abdominal aorta down, and it splits right here. Now it splits, and we're going to call these the common iliac. So this is the right common iliac, and this is the left common iliac. But it's only common iliac until here. See where that branch comes in? Then it splits again, and it becomes the right external iliac and the right internal iliac. So the internal iliac is going to go inside the pelvis and down to the structures of the perineum, and the external iliac is going to go through the hips and go down into the leg. Okay, so as before, we're going to follow it on the left side. So we go from abdominal aorta to left common iliac to left external iliac. Here's the internal iliac. Left external iliac comes down and enters and becomes the left femoral artery. And the femoral artery continues down until about knee level. Right at the knee level, it goes to the back of the knee, and it's called the popliteal artery. And then it's going to split. It's going to have a branch that's going to come forward. This is called the anterior tibial artery. And it has a piece that goes backward. That is the posterior tibial artery. Let me show you from the side. So here's my anterior, here's my posterior. And then the one that goes out to the lateral side here is my fibular artery. Anterior tibial, posterior tibial, and fibular artery. And they will all meet up with each other again down here in the dorsal arch. So those are all of the arteries of the head, the neck, the arms, the abdominal region, and the legs that you are responsible for knowing for this test. Good luck.